Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dramaturgy Podcast. In this episode, I am going to be covering a currently airing Chinese drama titled You Are My Lover Friend. I am going to be giving my first impressions about this drama because I think it's excellent. I have watched about 14 of the 30 episodes. And I mean, I would like to say that this started airing like a few days ago, but if you know anything about Chinese dramas, you know that they release episodes like water. Like they release it so fast, 2 episodes a day for like 4 or 5 days in a week. So this is almost like halfway through its run already, and by the end of this week it's going to be done. And I have only good things to say about this. It's one of the dramas that was not on my radar. And maybe it should have been because one of the actors is one of my favorites. Jiang Xingcheng is one of the characters from Go Ahead, and I remember him impressing me so much in that drama. But before I go into the cast, I just want to give a quick synopsis of this drama. This is like any other childhood to lovers like drama. Jiang Xiyan, played by Jiang Xincheng, has been best friends with Tang Yan, played by Wang Yuwen, since they were in high school. They met in high school, and since then they've been very good friends. They are even considered like blood brothers, because I think they made a pact that way. So like it's a deeply rooted friendship that they've had for a really long time. But as they have matured in age, kind of settled down in their careers and everything, their relationship is now changing, which I think it's an interesting difference from other like childhood friends to romance dramas, because a lot of the times when that romance comes in, when that shift in the friendship happens, it is usually in a precarious time. Like it's usually maybe when they're like writing their final exams in high school, their GACAO, or when they start working as adults and are experiencing all these different changes. But in this case, our characters are already like pretty good at their job. They've built up experience. Xian is the CEO of a well-established company, and Tang Yan is one of the best auditors that there is in our bank. So they are already doing pretty well for themselves. And so that's why it's interesting, because there isn't any real trigger to why their relationship suddenly changes, but it changes nonetheless. Now, I want to talk about the cast a bit because there are very familiar faces in this, and you just can't not talk about them. Like I mentioned, Steven, that is playing Xian, is in Go Ahead. I love them in that. But also, another one of my favorite dramas that he's in is The Art of Genius. I will say that I was not a big fan of one of his characters in that drama, but overall, I remember liking that drama so much. But yeah, I think he's one of the better actors out of China. I was so blown away by his character in Go Ahead, and how he was able to portray that like kid that, his mom had abandoned. It was well done in that sense. The female lead, Wang Yuwen, is also a face I recognize. I feel like China has like a roster of actresses and actors they use, and so at this point everybody's kind of familiar to me because I've seen them somewhere or the other, by just also the sheer amount of dramas that China puts out in a year, right? So Wang Yuwen, I remember her from The Love You Gave Me, because it features one of the cutest kid ever, and it's just a trope that I really, really like. She was great in that, and she was also in Once We Get Married, which I wasn't that much of a fan of, but I saw it as like a prequel to The Love You Gave Me, right? Because it's the same co-leads that in those two dramas, and it's basically them acting together twice, right? And so, very familiar face as well. I won't go into the supporting characters because there are a bunch of them, and like it's hard to just keep going because like I can keep going and just not stop. So I'm just gonna stop at the two leads. Now, to talk about this drama and why I think it's very fascinating and why I'm enjoying it so much. Number one, like I mentioned, I find it very fascinating that they've decided that they are going to forego all like the childhood era years, right? And so what we are seeing is them in adulthood. It is banking on kind of the acting chops of both the leads to kind of pull off this friendship that's believable, given the fact that we're not seeing those like childhood days, right? Those days when they were in high school. Like, we get flashbacks at like the epilogue of every episode, but it's not like we have followed them since they were like in high school or since they were kids, right? And so seeing how amazing these two actors are like able to portray friends, and kind of seeing the mundane, the like everyday nature of how they interact makes it believable, and it's just very fun to watch, right? Like, you see the actions that Shian like displays that like just proves that these people have like known each other forever. Their moms are friends. Like, it's to the point where even when the relationship starts to change, no one believes that it's possible, because like their moms have mentioned in the past, if their relationship was going to be anything more than friends, it would have been so a long time ago, because I mean, they've gone through high school, gone through university, started working. Like, they are now kind of at the top of their careers, the peak of their careers. And so the fact that they are just developing feelings now is kind of out of nowhere. And so to an extent, no one believes in it, or no one believes it's gonna happen, right? Or that like at this point they are just kind of like siblings, right? I mean, it's funny to me because from my point of view, they look very married. Like, they look very married. Their family like goes on vacation together, things like that, right? But at the same time, it's that one element, right? That romance that's like the only missing thing in their relationship. They already do everything together. And I love when a childhood friend to romance trope can kind of get me believing that these two are perfect for one another, right? Because this isn't always the case. Sometimes they tell you that these two people are like best friends. They've been best friends since they were kids and everything, but like you don't get that sense. The chemistry is not flowing. I hate to be the one to bring this up, but I want to contrast this with Love Next Door, because that's kind of the vibe I get in Love Next Door. Like, the characters are supposed to be friends. They've been friends since they were kids. Sure, they say that like it's mom's friend's son that like she's had to deal with since she was a kid and everything, but like they are also like best friends, right? Even though their moms are friends, they are also like best friends. They know each other intimately. But I never get this sense, because the chemistry is just not given between the two actors in that, right? And to make matters worse, the writing is also kind of shoddy work, right? That like there are moments where I'm like, the male lead is kind of mean for no reason, and these two actually never communicate in the way that you would think friends would, right? The female lead's relationship with her other best friend is way better than with the like male lead. So that's one example of where they are not like a perfect puzzle piece in that drama, as opposed to this one where like these two are like ride or die, right? Like, they have been friends forever, and you can see that they've been friends forever. They don't have to show you any backstory or anything. Like, you can just see it because they are so in sync. There's no even way that a third party can come in and like upstage either of them's position in their lives, right? So that's what makes this drama very interesting, right? There are key moments that like speak to this like amazing bond that they have, and I just want to like mention a few, because I feel like it was those moments that had me giggling. It was those moments that like just like was this warm fuzzy feeling, because honestly I think that they are perfect for one another. Like, they are actual soulmates, in the fact that they care for one another so much, right? And I need to see that in this kind of drama, right? If a drama is posturing that these two have been friends for a long time, I need to kind of see that that's factual, right? And so a few moments that stand out to me, and I'll start with the biggest one, because I think that's kind of the moment I was like, this is a 10 over 10 drama for me, and nothing can probably change my mind. For me, it was the moment where Shian had the conflict at his office, where there's a guy that grabs a knife and is threatening them because he lost his money in a scam, where the scammer basically said that he was from their company, right? The police intervenes and there's a little tussle, and Shiyan could have gotten hurt. He didn't get hurt and everything, but from the perspective of Tangyang, what I will say, from the moment she finds out that like there's an issue at his workplace and there's a threat there, she leaves her work and goes to his own, right? And so there's that moment where the tussle is happening, and you just see her start running towards him as if she's going to somehow save him, right? He ends up being fine. But what stands out to me in that moment, other than the part where she's actually running towards him, is when she just starts crying all of a sudden. Because it was almost like for her in that moment, she just got overwhelmed. I think it was just a cathartic moment for her where she was just so scared that she was going to lose him in some way, that when he ended up being fine and it all ended up being okay, she had to cry, right? That scene was just so well done because it kind of showed and explained just how important, how central his place in her life was. And I just like, I love that scene so much. It was just like, perfect. Like, I don't know how else to explain that kind of moment, but it got me. It made me feel so warm and so, like, I don't know, especially when she like backs it up by hitting him at the end. Just kind of like letting out kind of a little of that anger and that fear that she had in like a playful way. Going back to that friendship, like reverting back to like that friend antics that they have going on, and it was just so beautiful. Like, it's very rare that a drama is able to like get me in just like a warm scene, but this was just it for me. I was like, oh my god, that is so beautiful. And it was that way I was like, oh, these two are perfect together. Like, they need to get married and everything. Because nobody else is going to be able to like take his place in our life. And that's kind of one thing that I would say, just to like digress a bit, that it's a shame they don't see that like there's no person that will come into their life that will be able to compete with their place in their hearts, right? So a big part of why like Tanyan doesn't want the relationship to change is because like she wants them to be friends forever. And actually in this case, usually I hate that, like I hate when they use that as the excuse, because it's all the excuse they use. Every childhood friend to lovers like drama always uses this as the excuse, right? Let's be friends, we're better as friends and everything. I don't want to lose your friendship. And usually I just roll my eyes, but in this case, I get it in that like the friendship is actually really there, right? And it's like real and beautiful. But what is funny to me is that she doesn't see that like there's nobody that will come into their life as a partner that's going to be able to stand that friendship. That's the truth. Like, that kind of friendship is very like too much. It's beautiful and everything, but like it's the kind of friendship that a partner has to take on, right? And a friend cannot, especially a friend of the opposite sex. Like, some people say yes, it can, like friends are, but it's honestly, if I had a partner like Shian and he had a friend like Tanyan that he does all these things for, no, we are breaking up, we are ending it. And so it's that fact that they don't see that like actually your friendship kind of will have to end the way it is at the moment, will have to end when either of you like find somebody else. So that friendship that you're trying to protect anyways is going to be like done with at some point, right? But yeah, that's something I wish that like they will see. And I get a sense that like because they've mentioned like Tanya's ex, that he might come into play at some point. This is 30 episodes, so you know, you never know. And that might be the catalyst to help them like realize their feelings. Now, moving on to other moments that were like, for me, right? Like that sold me on this drama and how amazing it is kind of a little thing. This one scene where they are at the leisure house, which is their friends like restaurant, right? Tanya's like boss is berating Shian because obviously Shian has been trying to like sabotage. Is like, I don't know what he was doing, like he's flirting, like unwanted flirting with Tanyan, right? And he has his hands behind his back, and there's that moment where just like Tanyan just wipes off his hand as he's being berated, and it was like I let out like a little squeal in that moment because it was like so cute. But it's really those little things that like really sold me on this drama. It's those little things that like just like it's so cute and it's just beautiful and I love it so much, right? How they are like in sync when, you know, she's peeling like tangerines, and he puts like a piece of tissue paper so that she can like throw out the like bark of the like tangerine. How she was there at the hospital when his mom was going through something, and how she called her friends or their friends to come and help like clean the house when his mom got out of the hospital. It's little things like that you can see why he loves her. And actually it's kind of unrealistic that he hasn't loved her all these years, or maybe he has and he just is now willing to like admit it and like take it further, right? It's how he always thinks of her and how he centers her in everything. Like, she's this central part of his life, and he wants to take care of her, he wants to be with her. Like, he just is always about her and everything. And it's one of those things where she's also the same. It's not like she's just receiving, she gives as well, right? She wants him to do well. She is always by his side, always has his back and everything, right? And I just love that. I also like how they're kind of discovering their feelings separately, and kind of independently of one another, I would say. Shiyan's own is more kind of from the beginning. You get a sense that he liked her from the beginning, whereas like Tanyan's is moments where she's just like shaking, and she's just like suddenly realizing how amazing he is, right? I really like the scene where she gets like kind of hurt because he's telling his friends that she will always be like a brother to me, and like she kind of doesn't speak to him for like a few days because she's kind of mad, and it's almost to the point where she doesn't even know why she's mad, or she doesn't even know she's mad, kind of, right? And I just like that it's not going to be a shock to her, because I think that even though like the feelings is coming and everything, they are kind of on the same level in terms of like their realization, or their level of realization about the fact that their feelings are changing. So when it finally changes, it's not going to be too much of a shock. One moment that like also shows this is that moment where the superstar like actress that they work with is peeking at them during like I think New Year's or something, right? And she sees them kind of plan to come in separately. Right, like I think Tanya goes in first, and then Shiyan waits a bit before going in again, because they don't want to like have their friends be suspicious of the fact that there might be a change in their relationship, right? So they obviously know intimately that like something is shifting between them, but it's not something they want to have to like acknowledge. It's funny because I would have liked to see them as I talk in that scene, and what they like, how they came to the conclusion that they need to like do that and like go in at separate times, right? Because that also like shows that they sense that something is changing between them, right? And so yeah, it's just it's so good, it's so well done. The acting in this, like it's perfect. I love both of them. They are really, really good at portraying everything. Steven is one of the actors where I think like he's really, really good, but I will say that Yuen does not fall behind in any way, and I like that. So it's just perfect in every possible way. Other things that make this kind of just amazing is their friends. I really like the growing romance between Cheng Hui, who is like the shooting programmer partner of theirs, and his relationship with Sheng Nina, right? Because he's clearly so into her and basically is obsessed, but like he's trying his best not to show this, right? At first I actually thought that like Shang Nina would like Xian, and that seemed to be where it was going in the first like few episodes. Like she seemed like a little interested in him, like because he's like really amazing, hardworking, and seems like just a good person, right? But it kind of like pivots to Cheng Hui, and it's very funny. I think it's even funnier because she has this assistant that's always like hinting at this. Not even hinting. Assistant is like always mentioning the fact that like it's clear that Cheng Hui likes her, and obviously he's doing all these things to get our attention. And usually when like assistants or like sidekicks say things like that, it's never true in other dramas. But in this case, it's actually factual because I think he does like like he knows everything about her and everything, right? So this is actually the one scenario where like she's not listening, or like there's a sense of that like she's telling her assistant like don't be cocky, or like that's kind of delusional. But in this case, I think that the assistant is actually right, even though like usually they are not, right? And so when the assistant is kind of like making this like this comments and everything, and she seems just like what's wrong with him and everything. It seems that like she's been the lulu, like she's been just thinking of like her actress as being more than she is. But in this case, it's actually true, and it's amazing, and it's just a little funny tidbit for me because I don't know, it's just really really funny. But yeah, they're also really cute. I really want them to know that like they know each other kind of, because they've been like chatting online kind of, or we're just like replying to one another and everything, right? So I really want that to like match for. They have good chemistry as well, and I like it. I like Shanina's character. She is well grounded. She's not written in a terrible way that I would have thought like an actress would have been written. She's written to be like down to earth in some ways, and I really like that. And maybe that's also why Cheng Wei likes her. But yeah, anyway, I love it. I love them. And then the third couple is already married, and I just like the fact that they added like a married couple in this. This is really, really rare. It's like when their whole point is just to be amazing together. They have a kid. They've been like together since maybe high school and everything. And the guy, Feng Weiran, really loves his wife. Like he loves her so much, right? And it's just so cute to see a relationship that exists after like marriage, right? There's a scene where I don't recall the episode exactly, where Tangyan is entertaining like our, I think, university alumni like classmate kind of thing, and this is a scene where you kind of first see like Xian get jealous, like actually like visibly very jealous, right? And he's like really hurt and everything, right? And he's trying to like understand why he's feeling this way, right? So he calls his friends right? And like couple, right? They get there and they see Chengwe standing in the front of the door, and Chengwe is like, he's not going in because there's like an odd person that he doesn't know there sitting with like Tangyan and Xian. And the way the two of them just like sprint into like the restaurant was so cute and like so perfect that like you could see their relationship in that moment, right? They were both kind of nosy people, but like they love their friends and everything, and it was just so beautiful, and I just love it so much, right? So this drama is doing everything right and nothing wrong. It's that good. Like I love the fact that again, like their work is established, they are good at their job, right? Tangyan is very good at her job, right? And she's very meticulous and very smart, and you know, she can kind of like even kind of know in advance what is going to happen, right? In the sense that like, for example, you know, she knew that like our boss would clear out that office once he found out like the president of like the bank or something was gonna have to like come in, because it was one that like brought her in or like recommended her to that like office, right? And so she has those moments where she's just shown to be very smart, and I like that. I like when the female lead is written to like be like a functioning adult in society, and especially an adult that's good at her job, right? Again, Xian is the same thing. From the very first episode, we see how he like plans his business, and why he would have gotten to where he is currently, where he's basically a millionaire, right? Because, you know, the kerfuffle with the other like actress that basically was like circumventing rules and everything, right? You know, you see his response to that. You see how serious he is, how sure he is about this job he does, and making sure that like he's doing things the way it should be, right? So I just love how professional he is, how they are both just very good at what they do, and it's just perfect because it's like they drop us right in the middle of like the drama, and they're already good at what they do and everything, and so I just like that, right? And yeah, that's really it. I feel like I keep talking about this forever and ever. And I could just go on and on, but I'm gonna stop here. This is a drama that is it's so good. It's rare to have this kind of drama where, again, like I said, you know, their relationship is already perfect except for the one thing, which is the romance aspect, right? And so seeing this drama portrayed in this way, I don't know who wrote this drama, but they did it so well, right? This is the kind of dramas I like. Right, it's kind of slice of life, kind of, and it's not like heavy, conflict heavy, where like the female lead has to like fight this one girl in her workplace forever and ever to the end of the like drama, right? No, like the female lead is smart, she is like good at her job, and that's that, right? So I just love that, right? No one is like a villain, right? And I am just sold on this drama. It's very good, you should all watch it. But yeah, that's all I have to say on this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you again next week. Bye.